Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking you on, well, quite an incredible journey through time. We're unpacking the history of Berdaman.
That's the name you often see anglicized as Burdwan, right?
Exactly. And we're digging into some amazing sources that trace its story from way back in prehistoric times.
Right up to the end of its really powerful Raj family. It's a huge span of history.
It really is. And the name itself, Bardaman, has its own story, doesn't it?
It does. There are two main ideas. One is that it's named after Vardhamanaswamy, the 24th Jaina Tirthankar who supposedly visited.
Okay.
Or maybe simpler, it just means something like prosperous place or growth center,
Yeah.
reflecting its importance early on.
And we see it written down pretty early.
Yeah, the first epigraphic mention, like on a copper plate, is from the 6th century CE, so it's been significant for a long, long time.
So get ready, everyone, because we're exploring ancient civilizations, some pretty dramatic royal sagas, and the impact of colonial powers. Let's unpack this. Bardaman's roots go surprisingly deep. I mean, we're talking the Mesolithic, the Stone Age.
That's right. Excavations, particularly at places like Burhanpur and Panduraja Devi.
In the Aja River Valley.
Exactly. They've uncovered these fascinating early beginnings.
And it wasn't just basic living, was it? That's the surprising part.
No, not at all. That's the real aha moment here.
Yeah.
These weren't just, primitive shelters. The findings show sophisticated settlements.
Why?
Well, planned towns, believe it or not, with pavements, streets, even structures made of unfired clay reinforced with reeds.
Wow. And they knew metalworking.
They knew copper, plus agriculture, trade. It really paints a picture of Bardaman as a center of, early ingenuity.
That's incredible for that period. And it stayed important.
Definitely. It was known as a Bhukti, a major administrative area, and also Radha-desa, a key region in ancient Bengal.
And it eventually became part of the Mauryan Empire.
Correct. Then after the Mauryans, you get this dynamic sort of dynastic dance.
Different rulers coming and going.
Exactly. The Varman dynasty, the Guptas. But what's really unique is the Pala dynasty, maybe around the 8th century.
What was unique about them?
Well, the founder, Gopala Burs, was apparently elected king.
Elected by the people.
By the people, yeah. To save the area from something called Matsyanaya, basically a state of anarchy, like the law of the fish where the big eat the small.
That's fascinating. An early kind of democratic impulse almost.
It suggests something like that, yeah. Then later you had the Sena and Sadgop dynasties ruling the region too.
Okay, so after these regional powers, things shift again with outside influence.
Right. The first Muslim invasion of Bengal, led by Bakhtiar Khilji around 1204 AD, that really changed the power dynamics. Parts of Radha-desa, including Bardaman, came under Muslim rule.
But it wasn't just conquest, was it? There was a cultural side, too.
Surprisingly, yes. Rulers like Nasiruddin Mahmud Shah controlled parts of Bardaman, and his son, Ruknuddin Barbak Shah, was actually a patron of Bengali poets.
Really?
Yeah, he even gave the title Gunaraj Khan to Maladhar Basu, a poet from Bardaman. So patronage continued even under new rulers.
Now, let's get to some real drama. 1610 Bardaman, what happened?
Ah, yes. A very famous incident. There was a fight involving the local Mughal chieftain, Sher Afghanistaji, and the governor of Bengal, Qutbuddin Khan Koka. Both were killed. It was bloody. But the key outcome was that Sher Afghan's wife, Meherunessa, she was eventually taken to the Mughal court.
And she becomes...
Emperor Jahangir's wife, the famous Empress Noor Jahan.
Wow. And their tombs are still there.
Apparently so, yes.
Yeah.
In Bardaman, it's a direct link to this huge imperial story.
And other Mughal connections.
Well, Prince Khurram, who later became Shah Jahan, he actually occupied Bardaman for a bit during his rebellion against his father, Jahangir.
So it was strategically important ground.
Definitely. It wasn't just some backwater. Which leads us nicely into the rise of the Bardaman Raj family itself.
Right. Founded by Sangam Rai Kapoor, originally from Punjab, around 1608.
That's the traditional start, yes. He helped the Mughals kite some titles, but it's really his grandson, Abu Rai, around 1657, who's seen as the patriarch.
The one who really established the Zamindari, the estate.
Exactly. Under him, it really started to flourish. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were tragedies.
Like Krishnaram Rai.
Yes, a terrible story. He was defeated and killed by a rebel named Shova Singh around 1695 or 96. His family was captured.
And there were suicides.
Tragically, yes, many of the women took their own lives to avoid dishonor.
But there's a story of defiance, too, isn't there?
A powerful one. Krishnaram's daughter, Satyabhati, managed to kill Shobha Singh with a dagger
Wow.
before taking her own life. an act of incredible bravery and revenge.
And did the family regain control?
Yes, Krishnaram's son, Jagatam Rai, eventually did. And interestingly, Aurangzeb's grandson, Azimuddin, even built a mosque there later.
Then came Kirti Chandra Rai, who really expanded things.
He did. He was a major figure, defeated other powerful local rajas, significantly grew the zamindari's territory, and founded Kanchanagar, an important town, a real period of growth.
But then came another major disruption, the Maratha raids.
The Barji raids, yes. In the 1740s, absolutely devastating. We have eyewitness accounts, like from Vineshwar Vitalankar.
And they were brutal.
Horrific, attacking everyone, including women and children, just spreading terror. It was a really dark time for the region.
Did it end?
Eventually, yes. Through a treaty in 1751, Elivardi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, had to agree to pay the Marathas a huge sum, 12 lakhs annually.
A heavy price for peace.
A very heavy price. But it stopped the immediate raids.
And around this time, we see the British influence growing significantly. Okay, let's start with Chitra Sen Rai. He took over the ancestral zamindari from Kirti Chandra Rai and became Raja in 1740. That title, it came from the Mughal emperor.
Right, it did, yeah. Which was still significant then, but his reign, well, it wasn't very long. Only 1740 to 1744.
Brief, yeah. But he left a mark.
Definitely. He's known for building the Siddheswari temple in Khulna, so even in that short time, you see this deep cultural connection.
Interesting.
But sadly, he died childless in 1744, so the leadership passed to his cousin's son, Tilakchand.
Okay, so Tilakchand steps in. He also got a fancy title, Maharaja Dhiraj Bahadur, from the Emperor Ahmed Shah.
That's right, and more estates were added too, but his rule sounds like it became quite tricky, a real balancing act.
How so? What challenges did he face, especially with, the rising British influence?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? How do you hold on to power when this new colonial force is expanding? He faced problems almost immediately.
Like what?
In 1755, he actually tried to put an embargo on the British company's business in his lands.
Really? How did that go?
Not well for him.
Sure.
Nawab Alivardi Khan stepped in and settled it, but in favor of the company, shows their growing clout.
Wow.
Then, of course, you have the Battle of Palashi in 1757.
A major turning point.
Huge. After that, things got really complicated. The Bardaman revenue was basically mortgaged to the company by Nawab Mir Jafar.
Mortgaged, so the company had a direct financial claim.
Pretty much. And then the district itself was formally ceded, handed over to the company in September 1760 by Mir Qasim.
Wow, okay, that's a massive loss of control. How did Tilakchand handle the financial side of this, the revenue demands?
He really struggled. The company threatened him constantly because the payments were irregular. Frankly, the amount was just enormous, likely impossible to pay consistently.
So constant pressure. Did he resist?
He did. He even allied with the Zamindar of Birbhum, and they fought the British in 1760 near the Banka River. They were defeated. So military resistance didn't really work out.
Despite all that struggle, though, there was still cultural activity. You mentioned temples earlier.
Yes, absolutely. His mother, Lakshmi Kumari, his wife, Changa Kumari, and his grandmother, Bradakishori, they were all noted for building temples in Khulna and Dainhut during his rule. It shows that side of things continued.
But the pressure took its toll.
It seems so. He died quite young, only 37, in 1770. And he left behind a son, Techchand, who was just 6 years old.
A 6-year-old heir. So the kingdom passed to a minor, managed initially by his mother, Maharani Vishnu Kumari.
Right. And then not long after comes this absolutely pivotal policy.
Yeah.
The permanent settlement.
Okay, the permanent settlement. Let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Introduced in 1793 by Cornwallis. What did it mean for Bardaman specifically?
It was a complete game changer for everyone, but especially for large zamindaris like Bardaman. It basically fixed the land revenue the zamindars had to pay the company forever.
Fixed? That sounds maybe stable, but...
But the amount was incredibly high. Techchand Rai, who, as remember, still very young, only about 14 when he formally agreed, was locked into paying over 4 million rupees annually.
Fair million.
Plus other charges on top, like pulbandi for maintaining embankments and bridges, an immense fixed burden.
So what happened? Could the estate sustain that?
No, not really. The pressure was just too much. Soon after, starting around 1797, the company began ordering parts of the Bardaman Zamindari to be sold off to cover the revenue arrears.
Sold off. So the kingdom was literally broken up.
Exactly. Dismembered, it nearly ruined what had been, arguably the most powerful local authority. It fundamentally changed the structure, the power, everything. It fundamentally changed their power.
But they adapted somehow. Mahtab Chand?
Yes, Mahtab Chand. He was adopted into the family, and significantly, in 1864, he became the first Bengali native appointed to the Viceroy's Legislative Council.
So engaging with the British system in a new way.
Exactly. Which brings us to Bijay Chand Mahtab, maybe the most well-known Maharaja.
Longest reign, right? 1887 to 1941. Right. And Bijay Chand Mahtab's story, it starts quite uniquely. He was adopted into the Bardhaman Raj family back in 1887. But what's striking is he was the first in that family to get a formal education. He passed the Calcutta University entrance exam in 1899.
That education piece is crucial. You have to wonder, how did that background shape his reign, especially when he got full ruling powers in 1902, and then quickly, in 1903, he gets the Rajathiraj title. The sources really emphasize his loyalty to the British, like inviting Lord Curzon to the palace, building the Curzon Gate.
The huge gate, yeah.
Exactly. And there's that incident in 1908, risking his own life to save the lieutenant governor, Sir Andrew Fraser. That earned him the KCIE, and later the hereditary title, Maharajathiraja, serious recognition.
So it sounds like he was very much involved, not just a figurehead. How did that play out in his leadership beyond just the British connection?
Oh, absolutely hands-on. He was active in public life, served on legislative councils, president of the British Indian Association. His influence was wide, and he was outward-looking too. Toured Europe, wrote a book about it. Plus, founding the Bajoi Chand Hospital shows a commitment to public welfare.
But despite those strong British ties you mentioned, the sources paint a picture of a complex balancing act.
Completely. It wasn't just simple loyalty. You see him offering warm hospitality to Mahatma Gandhi in 1925, and then welcoming Subhas Chandra Bose in 1928. These actions, well, they signal a real awareness of the shifting political landscape. He was hedging his bets, you could say.
Smart. But his reign also faced major problems, right? Financial issues.
Yes, big ones. Financial mismanagement led to the British actually stepping in to manage the Raja's affairs from 1929 to 1936. That's a significant intervention.
Wow. How did he recover from that?
He did regain control, and crucially, he seems to have recognized that the zamindari system itself was, well, on its way out. So he started extending some indirect support to the Congress, again, looking ahead.
And it's interesting, he was adopted himself, but he ended that tradition of adoption for succession. His reign, 1887 to 1941, was the longest in their history, and he left behind 2 sons, including Uday Chand.
Exactly, which sets the stage perfectly for Uday Chand Mahtab, a different generation, a different India emerging, highly educated Presidency College, Calcutta University. He'd served as Diwani Raj under his father, so he had that administrative experience.
So he steps into his father's role right when things are really heating up with independence. What was his direct part in all that?
His story is absolutely about navigating that massive transition. He was directly involved. He served in the Indian Constituent Assembly, 1946 to 47, and significantly, he presided over the West Bengal legislators who voted for the partition of Bengal in 1946. Imagine that responsibility.
That's immense. And then to see the system he grew up in just disappear. He lost the 1952 election, even with Nehru campaigning for him, and then boom, 1954-55, the zamindari system is abolished.
How do you adapt to that when your whole world changes so fundamentally? Uday Chand's path is quite remarkable. He pivots, moves into the corporate world, becomes a director for big names, ISCO, Dunlop, Metalbox, Brook Bond.
That's quite a shift.
A huge shift.
Yeah.
And he showed significant philanthropy, too, handing over the family palace, Mahtab Manzil, and Golab Bagh to the University of Burdwan in 1960. Even set up a memorial cup at the Calcutta racecourse, still engaged, just in a new way.
So when we look at both Bijay Chand and Uday Chand, it's quite a story. It gives you this unique window into India's massive transformation. One, navigating the Raja's complexities, loyalty, change. The other, seeing that whole system dismantled but finding a new path.
Absolutely. What really stands out to you about how they both managed to adapt, to keep contributing, even as their traditional world sort of dissolved around them, it really hits home that history isn't just abstract forces. It's about individuals, grappling with profound change.